As the November 14th showdown between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis draws near, a leaked sparring clip featuring the two has gone viral on boxing channels, sparking intense discussion and excitement throughout the fight community.
I didn't even notice it at first, honestly. I want to see the replay. Like, I don't even know if I moved at all. But it was pretty fast. I didn't see it coming, so we'll...
What many fans didn't realize is that Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis actually shared a private sparring session during Davis's 14-month layoff leading up to his bout with Frank Martin. The session reportedly took place not long after Davis took a jab at Jake's boxing ability and boasted that his punching power could rival that of a super middleweight fighter.
Oh, there you go. Good punch. Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Take deep breath when you want. Take deep breath. Right. Take deep breath.
Just as Gervonta Davis anticipated, the sparring session unfolded completely in his favor. Despite Jake Paul's attempt to rely on his physical advantages, size, reach, and height, Davis's sharp movement and superior footwork allowed him to dictate the pace. As the rounds went on, Jake's lack of refined technique became evident, leaving him mostly chasing a lucky knockout shot rather than setting up clean openings.
Makes you think that you can be the fighter to stop him, and if you can stop him, do you think you can stop him?
Yeah, for sure. I think I can stop him. I'm much quicker than him. He's much stronger, much bigger, but we all know that tall fighters is a taller fighter. A shorter person is hard to fight a taller person. So, I mean, well, a taller person is hard to fight a shorter person.
We made it smaller gloves just now today, so someone's getting put to sleep.
How's your mental?
I'm doing great, man. I'm just so happy to be here. I love all of this. Excited to get back to camp and just knock this guy out and prove people wrong once again.
Jake made several attempts to surprise Gervonta Davis with a big shot, hoping to catch the lightweight champion off balance. But Tank's defense stayed airtight, shutting down every punch that came his way. Davis soon shifted gears, using precise counterpunching to take full control of the session. And had it been officially scored, the rounds would have gone decisively in his favor. Viewers who caught the leaked footage for the first time were stunned by just how one-sided it appeared. One fan wrote, "This is exactly how a real match between them would go. In boxing, skill beats size every time. A YouTuber standing a chance against someone like Tank? No way." Another viewer added, "I don't even understand why people are hyped for this fight. It's like watching a younger Tyson face off against Jake. Same story, nothing groundbreaking."
Paul versus Gervonta Davis.
Oh, I don't care. I don't think anyone cares, man. No one cares. No one cares.
To ensure the upcoming fight mirrors the dominance he showed in sparring, Gervonta Davis has been working with heavyweight sparring partners to prepare for Jake Paul's 6 feet 2 inches cruiserweight frame. But Jake didn't seem fazed when Gervonta shared an Instagram story of himself training with a much larger partner. The image quickly made its way across social media and eventually landed on Jake's feed, where he reposted it with a bold, confident caption, showing he wasn't intimidated in the slightest.
We know he's going to be definitely frustrated. You know, he's slower. You know, his arm reach not that much longer. We just got to wait and see until we get in there and test the waters. But I'm for sure, though, that he decent and he going to hold up for a couple rounds. But once it get hot in there, you know how things play out.
Jake fired back online, joking, "Gervonta's out here sparring with a dude who's got cankles. Come on, find a real athlete." The situation even caught Terrence Crawford's attention once the story went public. Given the massive size gap, Crawford expressed concern that the matchup might not favor Davis. Speaking on a Full Send podcast, he said, "Jake's just too big for Tank. Honestly, the size difference is huge."
Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. They just announced the fight. What's your instant reaction to that?
I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a
200-pounder. I think it's not a real fight. Jake just too big. Tank ain't gonna be able to get in from that jab. Jake land one good punch on Tank, it's over.
Although Terrence Crawford has openly admitted he's not exactly a fan of Gervonta Davis, he's never denied the man's talent. Still, Crawford made it clear that the size gap could be a serious obstacle. Tank's got the skills, power, and explosiveness, but Jake's size is on another level, he explained. In his most recent outing, Davis went through a rough night, battling Lamont Roach to a majority draw on March 1st at Brooklyn's Barclays Center. While many expected a rematch to be next, Davis surprised fans by opting to move forward with a clash against Jake Paul instead.
And what do you think about it?
Bruh.
Yeah. Lay it on me, Rolly. What do you think, bro?
I don't even know what to think right now. I don't even know what to think. Maybe some, Tank has an unreal boxing ability and Jake Paul is really big. But the last time I said somebody was going to be bigger, they weren't that much bigger. But I think in this case, somebody's actually a lot bigger, so.
Did you see the face-off? Like, he's a lot bigger, even though I know it's like 190.
As for Jake Paul, the YouTuber turned cruiserweight contender, he continues to face criticism over the level of competition he chooses to face. Terrence Crawford admitted he doesn't fully understand the purpose of this matchup, though he plans to tune in regardless. In his view, if both fighters come and make it a real fight instead of a spectacle, the outcome won't favor Davis. Honestly, I think Jake takes it. Crawford said when asked for his prediction, he's just too big. One clean shot from him, and it's over. Jake's got legit power in that right hand. He's bigger, faster than most give him credit for, and he can punch.
I gotta ask you, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. Does Davis have a chance?
Gervonta is a great boxer, but he ain't gonna be Jake Paul.
So you got Jake Paul by knockout, or?
No, I don't got anybody, but I don't think
he's just too small.
It's just I don't.
Shakur Stevenson, the 28-year-old WBC lightweight champion, spoke with TMZ Sports shortly after news of the Paul versus Davis fight broke. While he acknowledged that Tank remains one of the most dangerous punchers in the sport, he couldn't ignore the massive weight difference, nearly 60 pounds. Davis last weighed in at around 133, while Jake Paul's recent bout had him at 199. When asked whether Jake stood any real chance of losing to Gervonta, Stevenson didn't mince words. No, he said flatly, before emphasizing again, nope.
Ready, Buddy's always going to come in there 100% and he's going to be on top of his game. He's going to be sharp, fast, strong. I think that's the thing that's going to surprise a lot of people with this fight is Bud power carries up. It's not just power that was just there for 147 or 140. His power carries up the weight. So I think that's the biggest thing that's going to surprise everybody.
Shakur, have you noticed that he's a step slower and any downside to adding on a little bit of size with Bud?
I mean, I can't get into...
size plays a role, Stevenson admitted. But if I were Tank, I'd just focus on using my boxing IQ and controlling the fight. He went on to say that he could easily see Davis making it look effortless. With 28 knockouts in 31 bouts, Gervonta's power speaks for itself. Yet Stevenson doesn't expect this fight to end in a stoppage. I think Tank takes it by decision, he said. Jake's too big to be knocked out that easily, but Tank can definitely outbox him. Even when host Babcock pressed him to reconsider, Shakur stood firm on a prediction.
Gio's world, facts. That's why Tank wants to fight Jake Paul. I'm telling you, he want to fight Jake Paul because he know if he climb in the ring with Shakur Stevenson, he's going to get zapated. He know it. They all know it.
Nah, I don't see Tank knocking Jake out, Stevenson said, though he viewed the matchup as pretty one-sided. He still gave Jake some credit. Jake's doing all right for where he's at in his career, but there are levels to this game, he added. Shakur also admitted he has no plans to watch the fight when it happens. When asked by TMZ Sports if he'd be tuning in, he laughed and replied, "Absolutely not." He explained further, saying, "I look at things two ways, from a business angle and from a fighter's perspective. And honestly, from the competitive side, this one just doesn't interest me enough to watch."
Like 109 point something his last fight against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. he hasn't been only boxing for a couple of years. He's 12-1. Tank Davis obviously been boxing his whole life. He's 30-0-1. He's knocked everybody out except for 3 opponents in his life. But at what point does size matter so much, though, where it can't be overcome, Shakur? And is it in this case here when you've got what is like a 70-pound difference between these two guys?
I mean, size will play some part of the fight, but
Stevenson admitted the fight announcement didn't catch him off guard. "No, I'm not surprised at all," he said. Jake Paul was there for Tank's last fight against Lamont, and Tank had already mentioned wanting to face someone like Jake. So I saw this coming. Still, even with that understanding, Stevenson wasn't pleased. His frustration actually started when early rumors began circulating about Davis possibly doing an exhibition with a YouTuber. For Shakur, that move felt like an insult to boxing and his own ambitions of meeting Davis in a legitimate lightweight title bout. If Tank chooses an exhibition with Jake Paul over a real fight with me, that's disrespecting the sport, Stevenson told Fight Hub TV.
Think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fight.
man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. And he called cap on it. So if you gonna call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it. I think it's dangerous for him to go back in there and fight Lamont. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left. So he better be on his A game.
I'm the best fighter in the game, I've been saying for years, and he keeps acting like it's not true. So if he really doubts it, let him prove in the ring, Shakur said, voicing his frustration after years of chasing a matchup that's yet to materialize. Stevenson has repeatedly tried to lock in a fight with Gervonta Davis, as both men currently hold titles in the same division. Stevenson with the WBC belt and Davis with the WBA. Yet, despite all the talk and tension, negotiations have constantly fallen apart. What could have been one of boxing's biggest lightweight clashes has instead turned into a drawn-out saga, with fans losing patience and Gervonta appearing more focused on showmanship, including the buzz around potential exhibition with Jake Paul.
Outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way you could, any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and said he's got good power. Not even and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch, and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is.
We're working on it behind the scenes, Jake Paul said, suggesting that the fight could happen under the right conditions to deliver one of the biggest boxing events of the year. Stevenson, however, has shown clear frustration. He's chasing legacy, not spectacle. One of the biggest obstacles standing in the way has been the ongoing divide between promoters and broadcasting networks. Stevenson fights under Top Rank on ESPN, while Gervonta Davis is aligned with premier boxing champions, typically airing on Showtime pay-per-view. That promotional rivalry has a long history of derailing major fights. Looking forward, Stevenson mentioned two names he's targeting next, Teofimo Lopez and Lamont Roach, with Roach himself still eager to settle unfinished business with Davis after their controversial draw in March.
Yeah, Tank, it's the biggest fight in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be the biggest boxing fight in the world when it happens. I can see it happening not too far in the future.
Really?
I can see it happening. I don't think, I think Tank will sign that contract.
Dang.
And I'm going to sign a contract too, so
now you're going to get it on.
Yeah.
Even before his scheduled fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Jake Paul had already been teasing a potential showdown with Gervonta Davis. He hinted that his camp was quietly working to make it happen, saying we're in talks, but it'll probably be an exhibition. Now, that matchup is officially confirmed, and it's taken the boxing world by storm. The idea of a ranked cruiserweight taking on a lightweight champion sounds almost unbelievable, yet it's drawn curiosity from names like Claressa Shields. For Shields, the announcement came as a surprise, especially since Davis had just faced Lamont Roach Jr. on March 1st in a controversial fight that many expected would lead to a rematch later in August. Instead, Davis is now turning his focus toward Jake Paul.
I think Tank is going through things that we don't know that he's going through mentally, so that's why I kind of don't want to. I think that whenever I say something about him and go viral and he and then they make it a way for us to beef or whatever.
Pile on.
Yeah. And it's more of like I ain't gotta be friends with him, but I don't hate the dude, and I wish him well. I think that if he get his mental together.
Claressa Shields admitted she might tune in to watch the fight, if only out of sheer curiosity. Shakur Stevenson, on the other hand, had a very different reaction. After years of calling for a blockbuster matchup with Davis, he watched as the Baltimore star instead signed on to fight a cruiserweight YouTuber turned boxer. Shields shared her thoughts on X, writing, "Seeing Tank versus Jake Paul announced instead of Lamont Roach was really surprising, but I'll still watch it." She predicted Davis would come out on top, crediting his skill and experience more than his mindset. Throughout his 12-year career, Davis has competed at 140 pounds just once, and now he's preparing to face an opponent hovering near 200. Jake Paul later clarified during an interview with Ariel Helwani that the bout will be contested at 195 pounds.
It's definitely the one I want next, but it's not gonna be next.
Well, what is?
You might see it in a minute. You definitely might see it in a minute.
It's going to be an exhibition, 10 rounds, 3 minutes each, no restrictions. Jake Paul confirmed, noting that the bout won't carry official sanctioning. Former world champion Tim Bradley, however, doesn't see much purpose behind it beyond financial gain. "Tank's done," Bradley told the Ring. "Shoes off, plaque up, he's finished." While Bradley has long respected Davis's talent and accomplishments, the Hall of Famer and former ESPN analyst admitted he's no longer impressed with what he's seen recently. In his opinion, things started to decline earlier this year when the 30-year-old WBA lightweight champion went into his March 1st fight against Lamont Roach at Brooklyn's Barclays Center as a heavy favorite, yet failed to deliver the dominant performance everyone expected.
Ultimately, it's about like being in the ring with him, right? That's the main thing. He want to be able to say, look what I done in the last 4 years, 5 years, or 5 years in boxing. I got to the top. I fought the best fighter in the world, pound for pound, Canelo Alvarez or Anthony Joshua, heavyweight champ. That's just it. That's all he wants. He looking for clout, man. That's it. Clout at the end of the day. He know he can't beat none of those dudes.
But if he stepped in the ring with an Anthony Joshua, all jokes aside, would you, from the outside looking in, a former fighter, you know how dangerous this is, would you look and go?
Many observers, including Tim Bradley, expected Davis to cruise to an easy victory, but the fight ended in a majority draw, a result that left fans and analysts stunned. The underwhelming performance appeared to light a fire under Davis, as he and Lamont Roach were tentatively lined up for a rematch on August 16th in Las Vegas. However, the bout was never officially confirmed, and there's still uncertainty surrounding when or if their second lightweight title clash will happen. The Ring recently reported that the rematch could be pushed to either August 23rd or August 30th, though nothing has been finalized. Interestingly, before that first Roach fight even took place, Davis had already been linked to a potential matchup with Jake Paul, a rumor Paul himself later confirmed after the draw.
It's gonna be interesting to see, man.
So we see the same when Gervonta rematches Lamont Roach.
Could be, yeah, because the styles make fights, man. And obviously, Lamont Roach, man, look, anybody that can take a shot and that's tough, bro, and that can take it to Tank, they can beat him, all right? Roach, he mentally tough, had his game plan, was able to execute, was able to march forward in spots. He was able to control a lot of the action,
Paul also hinted that the fight could still move forward if Davis manages to defeat Roach in a rematch. Tim Bradley, however, while still acknowledging Davis's immense talent, believes the former pound-for-pound standout might be nearing the end of his boxing road. Tank's checked out mentally, Bradley said. He's chasing one last big payday with Jake Paul. After that, I think he's done. He's got a lot on his mind, and looks like he's just tired of the game. Former welterweight champion Andre Berto also weighed in on the situation, calling the planned exhibition between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis a purely financial play. In Berto's eyes, Davis isn't too concerned about public opinion. He's simply cashing in.
Paul and Gervonta Davis. Wow, that sounds crazy. That sounds real crazy. But doing it in Atlanta was a very smart strategic move. Because one thing about Atlanta, I lived in Atlanta for a good 4 to 5 years, and I know one thing when it comes to us, anything that's popping in the city, they coming out.
Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. That's crazy. Roberto said with a laugh. But hosting in Atlanta? That's a smart call. I've been around at City for nearly 45 years. And if there's one thing I know, it's that Atlanta always shows up for a big event. That place is going to be packed. He went on to note, I get why some boxing fans are frustrated. They want pure, traditional fights. But right now, the sport's shifted toward entertainment. It's about putting on a show that draws attention.
City is coming out. So the city will be coming out. It's going to be packed. A packed house in Atlanta to come out. And, of course, support Gervonta. Because like I say, Jake ain't never in his life going to see a stadium so filled with black people in his life. You know what I mean? They coming out. It's going to be crazy, right? I see a lot of people in the comments, of course, they're upset.
Against all expectations, Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis are determined to put on a show when they finally square off next month. That wraps up today's breakdown. For more boxing news, fight updates, and exclusive coverage, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay tuned and stay sharp.